Have you ever met a woman who walked away from a man who gave her everything? Expensive dinners, gifts, comfort, only to fall for someone who had almost nothing. Why does that happen? Why do some women leave luxury behind to chase simplicity, passion, and presence? Here's the truth. Women may admire wealth, but what truly captivates them lies beyond money. It's not about your bank account. It's about your essence, your discipline, your depth, your calm strength. Those are currencies far rarer than gold. In today's video, we'll uncover 6 things women secretly love more than money, through the lens of Stoic philosophy, the timeless wisdom that teaches men how to master themselves before trying to master the world. Because in the end, the Stoics were right. A man's worth is not in what he owns, but in what he is. 1. Unshakable calm, the power that silences chaos. Think about this. You're in London. The rain is falling, the streets are crowded, and everyone's rushing somewhere. A woman's emotions are often like that, storms of uncertainty, waves of feeling. When she meets a man who doesn't drown in that storm, something deep inside her awakens. A man who remains calm when she's angry, patient when she's emotional, silent when she tries to test his limits. That's the man who earns her respect without ever raising his voice. The Stoics called it apatheia, not apathy, but mastery over one's passions. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind and not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." When a man practices this, when he breathes deeply instead of reacting, when he speaks slowly instead of exploding, she feels something money can't buy. Safety. Not the safety of wealth, but the safety of emotional stability. Because here's a hidden truth. Women don't just fall for what excites them. They fall for what grounds them. She may flirt with chaos, but she commits to calm. You can have all the wealth in the world, but if you lose control of your emotions, you'll lose her respect. But if you can hold your center, if you can be her calm when she's chaos, you become unforgettable. That's why emotional control isn't just attractive. It's magnetic. It's quiet power. The kind that doesn't shout, it simply is. 2. Sacred mission, the fire that outshines wealth. Let's travel to New York. A man wakes up every day, drives his luxury car, scrolls through meaningless messages and feels empty. Another man wakes up in a small apartment, makes his coffee and goes to work on his dream. Guess which one she remembers? A man with purpose has a light in his eyes. It's the kind of fire that doesn't come from wealth, it comes from direction. Seneca once said, "When a man does not know to which port he is sailing, no wind is favorable." A man with purpose moves with intention. Every word, every action, every decision feels anchored. When a woman senses that you're not chasing her or anyone else but your mission, she feels something powerful. Because purpose creates polarity. It separates you from the crowd. She doesn't want a man who's addicted to her attention. She wants a man who's addicted to his mission. The one who knows why he wakes up, why he struggles, and why he endures pain without complaint. Money impresses her for a moment. Purpose moves her for a lifetime. There's an ancient masculine energy in a man who lives with direction. He's not desperate for validation. He's focused, composed, and quietly intense. Women sense it. That unspoken confidence of a man who would rather lose comfort than lose his calling. And that's why purpose is one of the most irresistible forces on earth. It makes you magnetic, not because you chase her, but because you're chasing something bigger. First, magnetic stillness, the power of true presence. Imagine this. A woman sits across from 2 men. The first talks endlessly about his money, his job, his problems. The second listens, not with his phone in hand, not waiting to reply, but fully present. Which one does she remember? Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." In a distracted world, presence is power. Women can feel when a man's mind is scattered or insecure. But when you look at her, not to impress or manipulate, but to understand, she feels seen. And being seen is rare in a world full of noise. Presence isn't about physical closeness, and it's mental stillness. It's when you're not planning your next move. You're simply there. That kind of awareness turns silence into connection. Because women aren't drawn to talkers. They're drawn to energy that feels grounded. To men whose stillness feels like gravity, calm, certain, unshakable. Presence costs nothing, yet it's priceless. It's wealth that never fades. The kind that every woman secretly craves. Iron will, the discipline that defines a man. Now imagine 2 paths, one filled with comfort and easy pleasure, the other harder, demanding sacrifice and self-control. A Stoic man walks the second path, because luxury can be bought, but discipline must be built. Discipline is silent proof of strength. When you rise early, keep your word, stay consistent, she feels it. It's the same instinct that once drew women to warriors and philosophers. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." And that's what discipline does. It shapes you into a man of action, not words. You're not ruled by moods or desires. You don't chase what's easy, you chase what's right. And that steadiness builds deep respect. Because when you can master yourself, you can handle life, and that's magnetic. Money fades, looks change, but discipline endures. It builds quiet power, the kind that separates men from boys. And every woman feels drawn to that, not because it's loud, but because it's real. 5. Depth over display, the magnetic power of mystery. This might surprise you because society keeps telling men to be open, share everything, be vulnerable. Yes, vulnerability shows strength, but mystery reveals power. A man who exposes every detail too soon loses his depth, and women are drawn to depth the way fire is drawn to oxygen. The men who stay on her mind aren't the ones who overshare. They're the ones who leave her wondering. The ones whose silence feels confident, not insecure. Stoic men don't announce their worth, they embody it. They don't say, "I'm strong." Their calm presence says it for them. Mystery isn't about hiding. It's about having layers. It's about knowing your energy is sacred, and not everyone deserves access. Epictetus once said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." When you live like that, you stop performing. You stop chasing validation. You simply are, grounded, focused, and whole. Mystery isn't manipulation. It's inner strength. When a woman senses that, she's intrigued, because she realizes you're not an open book. You're a library, and she's just begun chapter 1. That quiet depth and that calm, unspoken presence is something no money can ever buy. The unbreakable code, integrity that commands devotion. The one thing women truly value, even if they never say it, is integrity. Money gets attention, looks spark attraction, but integrity earns trust. A man of integrity stands tall even when no one's watching. He doesn't lie for gain or make promises he can't keep. He lives by principle, and that's rare in a world full of masks. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, lost everything in a shipwreck, yet he said, "I made a prosperous voyage when I suffered shipwreck." Because integrity is forged in storms, in the moments you choose honor over comfort. When a woman meets a man who lives by his word, she feels peace. Not because he's perfect, but because he's real. Women might admire wealth, but they fall in love with character. With the man who'd rather lose the world than lose himself. That's Stoicism in action. Virtue over vanity, principle over pleasure. Because when everything else fades, integrity remains. And that's the kind of strength no woman ever forgets. Conclusion. In the end, what women love more than money aren't things, they're virtues. Calm, purpose, strength, integrity, depth. These aren't tactics, they're truths. You don't need wealth to master them, only awareness, discipline, and courage. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time talking about what a good man should be. Be one. Be the calm in the storm. Be the man of purpose. Be the presence that earns respect. Because in a world chasing money, the man of depth always stands out. Wealth fades, wisdom doesn't. And with that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.